Hey out there, this is Jonathan Haupt, the Executive Director of the nonprofit Pat Conroy Literary Center right here in Beaufort, South Carolina, joining you for another Museum at Home Monday special feature. On one of our recent virtual tours, I was asked a good question about the origin of this particular photograph of Pat Conroy, which appears on the cover of the book Our Princes of Scribes, Writers Remember Pat Conroy, of which I'm co-editor. That photograph was originally taken to appear here on the very first issue of Garden & Gun magazine, published in spring of 2007. The photograph was taken by photographer Andy Anderson, and Pat Conroy is standing in Mrs. Whaley's Charleston garden, a garden so famous it has two books all its own, written by the late Emily Whaley in conversation with Billy Baldwin. Pat was originally scheduled to be photographed that day in the garden next door, which belonged to his friend, the novelist Anne River Siddons, who incidentally has an essay all her own in Our Princes of Scribes. But when the photographer got there that day and realized that Mrs. Whaley's garden was next door and looking lovely, they agreed to do the photo shoot with Pat there instead, with him standing barefoot in the fountain. Pat Conroy also has an article in that issue of Garden & Gun. Here it is right there, The Lady and the Tiger, in which he explains in beautiful detail the origin story of the tiger Caesar, who appears in Pat's famous book, Prince of Tides. Pat also talks about the origin of the real tiger who inspired Caesar, Happy the Tiger, from Columbia, South Carolina. We're very fortunate to have multiple copies of this issue of Garden & Gun here on display in the Conroy Center, and we hope to see you soon, either in person or online. Thanks for joining us for Museum at Home Monday.